Hi folks, how are we doing? Welcome back to another video. So, in the last video I explained about why I haven't sort of put videos up for a little while. That was because of doing Michel's kitchen. And I'm pretty certain I said about that we'd lost some storage for a couple of cars. One of them was this one here. The other one was Michel's actual car that I had to fix as well. I didn't record that because it was just a nightmare. But this one here is my car. You've seen it before in a previous weekly update, and I'll show you because the clutch slave cylinder had went. Well, at the time, in actual fact, no, I apologise. I thought it was the clutch master cylinder, and I replaced the clutch master cylinder, and then I discovered that the brake fluid was pouring out the bottom of the gearbox, so it's clutch slave. So that's what we're doing today. So here is my car. I know I literally just said I'm going to be doing the clutch. That's not strictly true today. We have many other things to do. She has been off the road for 2 years. And believe it or not, annoyingly, she was off the road for 6 years. I bought her and then she was on the road for about a month before she broke. So this is my car. She's lovely. She still actually smells like brand new inside. Interior is pretty mate and everything else. We'll do a full review on this another time. I'm trying to go through it and do crap. So, we pulled it out of the bloody sun. We pulled it out. Oh, you can see, look, there's bits missing because I had to sort of run the pipes around for the thing. So, hold on. I do apologise. I'm out of practice with this vlogging style video thing. I've been doing restorations, which are all in there. Everything's stored in there. So, yeah, pulled her out of storage, towed her around with the van, put the battery on. There was a battery with it. There was a good battery, and I did sporadically check it, but then when we went to move it, randomly it wasn't there, so somebody stolen my battery, so I got to buy a new battery. So we took the one off the van, put it on it. She started on the button. Have a look. Yeah. No. Okay, there's no fire yet. Lights. How cool is that? How epic is that? Over a year. She's still got bumps. Ah, I'm a child. I love it. I was extremely excited, as you can tell. Yeah, we recorded that for a TikTok, so it was that way. Portrait, not landscape. But then obviously no clutch, so he was like moving it around because it's quite hilly here, and then it's only me and Michelle. This thing weighs about 2 ton, so the idea was I started it in gear, took it back up the lane so we could get a bear check on it, and then we had it running for a while, but then it just decided not to start again. So that's what I'm doing today. Bearing in mind Louis is coming around in 2 days because I've got him to give me a hand for 2 days. We're going to take the entire... Oh, I'm not doing well at explaining this video at all, am I? So I need to get this on the road because I lost storage. The only way to... I can't get any other storage, so I've got to get it back on the road so I can have it legally on the road. Clutch master cylinder's gone, so I've got to take the gearbox out and do the clutch. But I know for a fact it also needs the timing belts doing, and it's got 3 of them. It's got 3 timing belts, so I was just like, it's easier. Right, hold on, look. Look how tight that is. I was like, it's easier. I'll drop the entire lot out at the bottom, and then I'll do the belts, because there's 1 belt there, 1 belt down there, and then that belt there, plus the clutch and everything else. So I was going to clean it all up, so I've got Louis to come around and do this. But the problem is, now it's not running, I need to make sure it is running. If it didn't run after the fact and it was running before, we'd know it's something that we've touched. But because it's not running now, we don't know whether it's going to be something we've touched or whatever. So I need to make sure it's running again now before we strip it apart, if that makes any sense at all. So with these engines, there's 3 options. Well, I mean, with any engine, there's 2 options. There's no spark, no fuel. Now, this car has a common issue with fuel pumps packing up, because the fuel pump's about 50 quid. It is a common problem. There's also another problem they have in the tanks, is they have a pipe that runs between the pump and the filter, but they've done it in such a way that the pressure of the pipe, it unscrews the bottom of the filter drops off, and then they don't run. I've had this before. I've actually had this before, and I've replaced sort of engine management components and stuff like that based on what other people have said. So I do know this for a fact. The downside of that is I've got to clear the back of it out, because this has been used as storage. Get to that in a minute. Third option is no spark. Could be bloody anything, and I haven't got a clue, so I'm hoping it's not that one. Look at her, she's so sexy. So anyway, this is what I was going on about storage. So, yeah, I've got all of the glass from all the customers' cars in here, because it was safe and it was out of the way and secure. So the fuel pump is under that back seat. So this, we've got plans for this. Some of it's going to go up there, which I didn't really want. I didn't want any of it anywhere. That's why it's in here, because it was safe and secure, and most of it's bubble wrapped. That's Mini stuff that needs to come out. This is BMW stuff. That's BMW headlining. You know, it was all secured safely out of the way. But unfortunately, we now got to do things. So what I'm going to do now is, unfortunately, it's going to be vlog style. I'm not getting the camera out for this. I'm going to take the battery off of that. I'll get her running first, and then I'll put the battery on this. And when I say get rid of that running, because I can take the battery off of that and she stays running. So if I drain the battery on this, all I've got to do is put it back on that and it charges, if that makes sense. Or it doesn't. Right, so a bit of bad news and, well, good news. It's bad news really, but still don't start. I did hear the fuel pump running. So we now need to find out where it's got sparked. What I'm going to do that is I'm going to rip out the plug. I say rip out. I'm going to carefully take out a spark plug here. Good news is you'll get to see it, because the thing is so long and I've got nobody else here. I'm going to have to try and set up the phone here somewhere and see if I can see it and then review the footage. So you'll get to see if it's got no spark. That's about the only thing I can really do, because I don't have a tripod for the phone. Somebody wants to send me a tripod and a clampy thing for the phone, please do, because I don't have one and I'm not going to buy one because I've got a DSLR. Just thought I'd mention, right, so in case I get any stupid comments like why didn't I do this, why didn't I do that beforehand, it wasn't cough, splutter, die. It was I turned it off, then no start again. It's not like it, because it had been sat for a while, started on the button and then just slowly petered itself out. It was running sweet for about 30 minutes. We left it running. Didn't want to just turn it off, and then I left it running for about 30 minutes. It was only because we was moving it up and down and stuff like that, and I literally got sort of up there, and then I turned it off and it wouldn't start again. And it didn't even try and start. It wasn't coughing, it wasn't sort of, it was just cranking over. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, not doing any other diagnostics. It's either completely no fuel, completely no spark. I'm suspecting completely no spark at the minute because of the way it just died. Well, come on, focus. Well, hopefully I haven't got prematurely overexcited, but the plugs are dry. So I'm really hoping, I'll have to clean a little bit of this up. Hopefully we can do that there. Work out somewhere to mount the phone. Hopefully there's a spark. If there's a spark, oh no, it's the fuel pump that's dropped off. There. I did put brand spanking new plugs in this. After 6 years, you know, I did change the plugs. So these, although these plugs are 2 years old, they've done about less than 1,000 miles. I've got you wedged. I really hope you stay there and I don't break my phone. So what did you see? So that looked like a no spark, but then at the end it did look like a spark shot out, but not across the gap. I'm going to close the door and try that again. So this is literally my worst case scenario. No spark could be anything. It's got 6 coils, so the fact it's not misfiring, it's not going to be the coils, it's not going to be HTs. HT leads I actually replaced not long ago. They could have broke down in time, but they're still brand new. Oh, it could be bloody anything. It could be an ECU issue. It could be. We'll plug it in, see if it comes up with any codes. I'm actually getting irked. This is literally the worst case scenario. No fuel. No spark. There's no fuel getting into the engine either. Because the plugs have been wet. So the injectors are not fine. Could be a crank sensor. Oh, right. I'll do some investigating. Right, new day. Had a little bit of progress, although nothing's confirmed yet. So I spent a little while doing a bit of research online, see if there's any common problems. I spoke to a couple of people on the forums as well. Everybody's sort of saying pretty much the same as what I said. It's going to be crank sensor. So obviously there's no spark, but then it didn't look like because there was no, the plug wasn't wet, the plug was dry. So that would indicate that there's no fuel as well. The fact that the fuel pump is running would suggest that the immobiliser is kicking out, because it's got a 2-stage thing and it was cranking as well. But yeah, the CAN sensor and the crank sensor are what triggers the fuel and spark. So I did try and get the crank sensor out to pin it out, because they normally what you can do is 2 tests. You do AC voltage rising while it's cranking, but I couldn't get to the pins, or you just do the resistance, because basically it's what's called a Hall effect sensor. It's a coil of wire and it just picks up the rotation of the engine basically. So that you put resistance over it, or continuity check, and then you sort of check it that way, and they normally break to open. Upon removing, it snapped. So I've definitely got to order one. I haven't yet, but the pins, because it snapped clean, and I didn't twist it or torque it. I pried it out, and the pins are still sort of sticking out. I have probed it, and it is a short, so I'm taking the chance, and I'm hoping it is that. Otherwise, we're just going to have to deal with whatever it is, because Louis here today, so we can get this damn engine out. So I did make a bit of progress, and I made a bit of a start. Let me show you what we've done. So got her up in the air, got the wheels off. Might need to go a little bit higher yet, but I'm hoping that should be about right. Getting this bumper off is an absolute nightmare because it all attaches on the inner arches. Almost every single bolt, you know, wouldn't undo. Just kept sort of talking out of the Phillips head. I didn't want to round them off and completely destroy them, but then I ended up having to put a little slit in it to get a flathead in there. But then obviously not heat the bolt up too much to melt any of the plastic. So yeah, that was most of them, but it's now finally off. So now we're going to drain the coolant and start taking the front end off whilst waiting for Louis' arrival. A couple of things that we are going to do. I'm going to polish headlights while they're out because it's a lot easier than trying to get in there with the recesses. But I'm not too worried about that at all. And then I've asked Michelle if she wants to give it a go on painting this. It's not the end of the world to get off, so if it doesn't look brilliant, it's going to be okay. It's going to look better than it is. The only downside is I can't get this sticker. I can get almost everything else for this damn car. I mean, I can buy literally that entire side panel from the roof, the whole damn lot, and it is literally £120 for that, and everything else is relatively available. It's not always that cheap, but it's mostly available. We can't get these stickers, so she's going to have a fun job and mask that up. Unless she can peel it off and then we re-stick it with something. That's a Michelle task to make this look better. So I think once we've cleaned everything up and put it back together, that will really set it off and make it look the absolute tits. Maybe then panels as well at the same time, but I reckon they might clean up okay. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to carry on stripping the front end out. So we're about 15 minutes into the job and we've snapped a bolt, as well as the other ones that we had to do. I really don't hope this is going to be the theme of this job because it's going to be inconvenience. This one's not going to be too bad. I can heat this up and I should be able to extract that quite easy. I don't want to break every bolt on my own car. We are making serious progress, although it doesn't look like it. Many parts have been removed. Many broken screws, broken clips, but we've been fixing as we've been going. Louis currently doing, what were you doing, Louis?
Gear linkage.
To the people. Tell the people.
Gear linkage.
Gear linkage.
Gear linkage. Now the gear linkage is off.
Ooh. And then I've got some A pipe to do down there. We've got to do the drive shafts and drain the gearbox oil, and then I think we're ready to come out.
Yeah.
All the engine loom is off. Pipes are off. Got clear space down everything, so wish us luck. Well, that was an absolute marathon, but we have succeeded. Luckily we didn't have any catastrophes. That's just a bit of gearbox oil where we knocked the pot. So obviously still leaving out the gearbox a little bit where we dropped the shafts. The only real issue that we've got is that water hose there was stuck on, so we've had to cut that to get it off, and it goes right across that bloody manifold. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do about that because I can't get another pipe. I can actually get the two pipes. It's a moulded thing for the two, and I can get a new one, but it's 85 quid and it won't be here for a couple of days. I don't have 85 quid and I don't have a couple of days. This needs to be done and at least start putting back in tomorrow. I don't mind doing a lot of bolts myself. I need Louis here for manhandling this thing because it's bloody heavy. So yeah, we're going to call it a day now. I'm going to need to find somewhere to put all of that, and then tomorrow we're going to take it apart. So all the whole front end of the engine comes off, 2 timing belts there, we'll spin it round with the clutch. I'll get the crank sensor out at the same time. I don't think I actually showed you it, did I? Yeah, look, that's where the crank sensor broke off in the gearbox. So bit of cleaning up. I'm quite sure what this is. It's a bit of road dirt. It's not leaking any oil, it's not losing any oil, so yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go chill out because I'm dead. Well, welcome to a week later, and things haven't gone to plan. The engine is still sat there right in front of me. Let me explain why. The Great British weather has not helped. It's not been the only reason, but it hasn't helped. It has been pissing it down most of the week, and because we're right here, I've needed the door open, and yeah, I've been able to do a lot. So I have cleaned this, ish, sort of. This was all caked in crap, where like it's been topped up in the past and it's just dried down here. So I've cleaned this up. I have done the front belt. I was going to film it, but I did it sort of like there, round. I need to do the back belts, so that's what I'm going to do today. I've been looking at other cars as well, doing bits and bobs, and then I have actually painted. I was going to get Michelle to do it, but I did it myself. I have painted the slam panel. It's only rattle can, and we're not getting close because it looks awful, but it does look better than it did. I haven't gone down there. One day I'll shot blast it and I'll paint it properly, but just the exposed bits I'll do. So yeah, it has been a manic week. I mean, I managed to purchase a car for Michelle's daughter. We ran halfway around the country to go pick that up and sort that out, and then she ended up coming here and had to look at it because it's got had a gear linkage issue, so I fixed that. And then we've had rain, and then I look at a Golf this morning. So I'm now back on this. I want to get this engine in that engine mode because I've got things to do, not just my own car. So I don't think I'm going to get the gearbox off today, but I do want to tackle the belts. Now the belts are an absolute pain in the arse to do, because you're supposed to have a special kit to do these. I just wasn't paying the £200 for the kit that I'm likely to use once. So let me show you what I did. So the front of the engine is relatively straightforward. It's a normal sort of cam belt setup. I mean, you've got to strip everything off. I mean, like, alternator had to come off, power steering pump had to come off, the aircon pump had to come off. I even had to take the dipstick out to get this cover off, pull that out to then get access to the belt. I have done absolutely everything on it though. So we've got, these are all the old tensioners, pulleys, water pump and stuff like that. And then I just went absolute Tipex happy. So marked everything up. The cams did move, but because I Tipexed everything up, paint marked, sorry, we put it back together. I've spun it over about 7 times, and other than it being 180 out for the cam throw, it lines up every time. We've got no valve fitting or anything else. The back end is a different kettle of fish. So like on this, on the front one, like I said, it's a standard cam belt. Tensioner sits about there. Can tension the belt, take the belt off, not a problem at all. The back end of the engine, what you're supposed to do is pull this bung out, lock the exhaust cam off, and then there's a tool that goes between the two pulleys, and then you take both pulleys off together because there is no tension at all. There's no tensioner, sorry. So what I need to do is, let's get around the engine hoist. I need to devise a way of doing this. Now, the front end of the engine is fully floating, and I'm pretty certain this pulley is fully floating as well. My plan is Tipex the shit out of everything, pardon my language, and then make sure that this is sort of settled. So like at the minute there's tension on the bottom there, but we've not got any tension there. I'm going to turn the engine over slowly until we've got no tension, and then see where it sits. The other option is time it up properly, because I know this won't move because it's connected at the other end. I might sort of set it at TDC, because I didn't set it at TDC on the front. I've always done these, well, any car, where they sort of relax. If you put them at TDC, you've got the cam lobes, especially on top dead centre number 1, right? They're always sort of under tension because they're about to open and close and stuff like that. Well, the exhaust is just closed, the inlet's about to open. So they're always under just a little bit of tension, and that's how you get that spring effect, and then that one goes that way, that one goes that way. But then I've got 4 cams on this, so my plan, like I always do it, so I let the engine sit where it sits, and then generally you've only got to contend with 1 cam, because 1 cam will sit quite comfortably on the compression stroke just where it sits, and then the other one you can move, and you don't have to fight it too much. Doesn't always work, but generally you can get away with it, and that's sort of my plan here. but I'm going to get Tipex happy and I'm going to mark the absolute crap out of everything. First thing I need to do though is move the engine hoist round so I've got better access, and I'm not looking forward to this at all. Right, so I have procrastinated, I have deliberated, I have self-fornicated and even defecated whilst watching YouTube videos, and I've decided I've set this up to TDC now and I've got the timing marks there. I'm going to use, it's not Tipex, it's some Tamiya stuff. Now I've had this since I was a kid, so it's at least 20 years old, and it worked perfectly for the front engine, front of the engine, and I'm hoping it's going to do well here. So I've got my little brush. These were good brushes back in the day. We were sort of using all of the stuff here. Come on, look at that. It's pure sable, made in England. I've got a spider or something crawling up my arm. It's doing me head in. What the fuck is... What are you? Get off. Dead now. Yeah, so... see if I can do this in one go. Right, so... I'll give this paint a shake up. I'm obviously not using it on models anymore. Yeah. Right, I've got to take the top off, hold on. That still smells so good. Can't beat this. Tamiya XF2. Right, so we are just gonna, not even framing, I'm watching what I'm doing, sorry. A little bit on a brush. So that, oops, that is the timing mark in there. So I'm just going to come straight off timing mark, straight onto the cover. Beautiful line. I'm just dipping more paint. So, and then I'm also going to come from the bottom here. Just give it another line. And then I'm going to do the same on that one. Oh, I'm actually going to give this little bit here as well. Look. When I say Tipex the crap out of it, I mean it. If you can mark it, mark it. So, I need to come in here, come straight on that tooth. There's a genuine possibility that will come off. So, this is why I put that one there. I'm going to put another one here, look. And then I'm going to try and get down there. A bit more paint. Just come off there. Just go down there. So I've marked the crap out of it. So, in theory, this cam should not move. Because it's connected at the other end and it's connected to the rest of the engine. This one will drop down, so these are going to be important. I've seen other people mark the belts and then try and get the belts in the right position. I'm not going to do that because, well, yeah, I'm just not going to do it. I believe this is a floating pulley, but that should not move, and I have timed it up TDC on this cam. So all I need to do is, if this one moves, just bring it back to these marks from the bolt here, and to then get the belt back on. I might see if I can get a tripod set up for my camera. I might put another mark here, just so I've got a rough idea of where things are. And that's what we've done, and hopefully this will work. So I have actually added a couple of extra marks, and I did mark the belt just in case that pulley is not keyed. I'm just thought I'd go extra mile, but we are going to be delicate now and use the ugga gun. Yeah. Don't know whether this is keyed or not. Wish me luck. That should just slop off, and then that's going to drop off. That will drop around that way in theory. Oh, I'm going to catch my finger, I know I am. Why don't I have anything to do this with? I mean, that is loose. Oh, I'm going to get a small lever. I would like to reiterate, this is my engine. This is not a customer's engine, and you know. Get out. Bloody hell, that's tight. There you go, belt's off. Told you, spun round. So that's almost bang on what I said. I said 3 teeth. So the internet did not lie, and that hasn't moved. And it is keyed. Thank Christ for that. So I'm not going to be able to put this back together with holding the phone. So I'm going to get this back together. The new belt is on. Just got to put the bolt in the pulley. Putting the marks on a timing belt was actually the way forward, because trying to work out how to line this pulley up in the keyway with the belt on was an absolute nightmare. So all I did was laid the belts down and then just transferred the marks over. So then the belt will go in the right place, and then in theory the pulley would go, and then that's snapped on. So all I've got to do is put the bolt back in. Now, I do not recommend you do this, but I am doing this. So this here is what's known as a stretch bolt, and you should be replacing it. I'm not going to do that because I don't have money. There's my car. So I'm going to get it to stay, we are just going to lash it. Now, the joy of the back belts is that if it does go, we're only doing the exhaust cams on one head. Hold on, let's put this back on. So we've got plenty of stuff on there. That's going in there. Lovely jolly. And then this is supposed to be torqued down to 97 Newton meters and then 90 degrees. We are going to do this. And yes, I know I'm going to get some crap in the comments and call me an animal and everything else. It's my engine. And I've run out of time and patience. Although I can't get the socket on, so it's probably turning this way. There we go. Let's go max. That'll do. There's a couple of ugga-duggers. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to spin the engine over, make sure that's fine, and then we'll do the other one, which is just there. Engine's been spun over about 5 or 6 times, and everything's sort of lining back up. Obviously the lines on the belt are not lining up, but that's there, that's there, that's there, these are there, and they're there. So I'm actually happy with that. Let's do that one. I'm not looking forward to that one because that one's not as easy to do, as you can clearly see. But I'll get it done. They've got a little bit of a change of plan. So I started doing this belt, and as you can see, it is really, really tight getting in there with the thing. not with the wiring loom in the way. I mean, I would have done it, but then I noticed there's a, I don't think you're going to see it, you can just about see, there's a pipe off under there. Now, the engine runs sweet, but that should be in. And then I've always had this sort of floating around, and then looking, I think that sort of goes down there somewhere. So I'm going to remove the inlet manifold, well, at least not the inlet manifold itself, but the plenum. We'll remove the plenum and see if we can work out what's going on with that cable. That pipe should just pop back in. It's not a problem at all. And then I'll do that belt a lot easier. Gearbox is off, obviously. I'll tell you what I'm actually quite shocked at. I mean, look at us. Don't frame it. Look at the state of that. How I did not feel that while driving, I do not know. I mean, it's obviously been off the road a couple of years, but bearing had obviously gone. It just melted through until it went. So, yeah. Got to do the clutch. Obviously, the belts are already done. Oh, I found out what this plug is. If anybody's interested, this plug here that I've just tucked out of the way for the minute, that one that's loose is for cruise control, which has a little thing that bolts up here and then goes on to where is it? So I'm trying to look and frame. There's a little ball joint thing that clips up on the throttle. So yeah, I know what that is. Right, I'm going to crack on, get the clutch changed, clean this up. We'll see if we can borrow the farmer's jet wash quick, give that a clean inside, because I don't fancy scrubbing it with brake cleaner and other stuff. So I'm kind of glad that I did buy a new clutch, because this one was literally on its last legs. Looking at the flyball and that, there's signs it was slipping. I didn't feel it slipping when I was driving, but it was definitely worn. Some progress has been made. Engine's back in. I need to go over everything just one more time, but I think everything's connected up. There's a plug over there that I'm not sure where it goes, although the connector's dirty, so I think it was just taped up somewhere. Looks like it was taped up. There's nothing in the vicinity for it. Every nut's been copper greased, or every bolt, sorry, has been copper greased. Every nut's been copper greased. But before I get the bumper on, which is pretty much the last thing to do, other than all that bit in there, I want to polish these headlights, because where the bumper goes over, it sits in a recess, so it's going to be easier to polish these now while it's off. And yeah, just nothing special, just give them a quick sand, a little buff up, get rid of the yellow end. This one's worse. They'll come up alright. Won't be perfect, but they'll do a job. So it's actually been a few days, and as you can see, we are now outside. Headlights are polished up, everything's pretty much back together other than this. I put the new crank sensor in, and it still didn't start until the battery's on, but nothing's here. I pulled the cam sensor out, I pinned it out, and I think that's what's at fault. So I've ordered a new one, which arrived this morning, and I've actually ordered everything for the car, everything that I've done from this company here, which is DMGRS, Discount MG Rover and Spares. And normally there's sort of like 2 to 3 day turnaround, where I actually emailed Matt from them, and he managed to get this. I literally ordered this sort of like yesterday afternoon, and it arrived this morning. So brand spanking new sensor. So if you want to go check out yeah, Discount MG and Rover Spares, that's their website, that's their phone number. It's Matt and Scott. It's Matt that I've been dealing with, so if you speak to him, just say that you're from DG Retro Customs, he might be able to do you a deal, and you always get sweets in your box as well. I'm going to stop rabbiting, I'm going to get this thing fitted, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the car bloody starts, because if it doesn't, I'm really confused. I really hope this works, because otherwise I'm going to be really confused. but she's running. And the engine management light's flashing. We have improvement. So I can smell quite a lot of petrol. It could be where I was sort of cranking it over, it's a little bit flooded. Also sort of where the battery box is off, this earth's not on properly. So I'm going to get all of this back together. I'm going to put some water in it because I haven't done that yet. Get the system bled, and then we're going to run her up. But I'm happy it started. Moving in the right direction. Temperature and see what she does. Well, as you can see, I've turned around. Fan's cut in. Just waiting for it to cut out. There's plenty of heat inside, so that should be good. No airlocks. She drives. It's more than she did before. The engine management light was flashing, and had a slight misfire as well. I thought it just needed clearing out. Turns out I'd accidentally missed one of the coil packs at the back. So yeah, it's now get the wipers back on, scuttle and bumper, and then she be done. There she is, all completed and back together, or nearly. There's a couple of bits of trim I need to put underneath, but I need to get some new screws for that. But yeah, she's done, she's driving, she's running, and she's had a quick wash as well. All the scuttles back together. This was an absolute nightmare. It's got this little rubber trim here. That had come off, so I had to clean all of the glue up and then re-stick that down. That was not fun to do. It took me best part of like an hour and a half just to do that, but it has to be there. Yeah, so put all the trim back together underneath the dash, so she's clean and tidy. Needs a hoover and stuff, but all we need to do now is move all the glass out, and then she is ready for an MOT. So yeah, we're going to call it done on this video. I have no idea how long it's going to be because there's lots of little clips and stuff like that, so if it's like 4 hours long, I apologise, but it is what it is. Yeah, you'll be seeing it again because I want to make sure this car looks I want it to be perfect. So there's always going to be little things that I'm going to sort of get and collect and then sort of do it up and stuff like that. But for now I just need to get it MO'd because I have no storage for it, so it's now working. You can go on the road. So yeah, please have a look in the description box below. Donate to the cause of the hair because this is getting embarrassing now. I mean, look at that, that's just mad. Check out my friends in the description box. Check out my Patreon. If you haven't already, have a look over here. Should be a bubble. I think it's that side. Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's that side. There should be a bubble. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're informed of all the videos as I want to do them. And if you have a look over this side, there should be 2 tabs for some previous videos that I've done. I'll see you for the next one. Bye.